Well, welcome back, everyone. Boy, we do so many events in our community. But boy, this one event really stands out. Believe it or not, this will be the 20th anniversary of this event. It's the TourDeCure. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard of this event. In case you haven't, it's to help research, education, and hopefully a cure for a really insidious disease called diabetes, which I think affects everyone, either in their own family or certainly friends. We all know people who have suffered from this affliction. Joining me today is Denise Nicastro. I got it. Who is the Associate Director for the American Diabetes Association in Albany. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. And one of the pillars of our community. See, I had to set you up. Good buddy of mine for many years, Tom Ruin, who runs Ruin Realty. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Real nice to have you here. Denise, I want to start with you. With that rather broad opening that I gave our viewers, give us a little bit of a sense of what this disease is about, diabetes.
Well, I can tell you that 29 million Americans are affected by diabetes and that there are 86 million Americans that are pre-diabetic. So it's a really staggering disease, and we just keep seeing a rise over the course of years. And our job is out there to try to raise awareness and to try to get people to think about their health and to prevent diabetes.
And you were telling me before we went on air that, again, I set this up because I know I have two friends that have diabetes, that your daughter has diabetes.
Yeah.
And that Denise said something very telling before we went on air. She said, what did I do wrong? How did my child get this? That's one of the real mysteries about diabetes, is you just don't know how it attacks, when it's going to attack, in what form, right?
That's correct. For type 1 diabetes, it is an autoimmune disease that, for whatever reason, I didn't even have family history, and my daughter all of a sudden had symptoms of diabetes. Brought her to the pediatrician, and they saw that she had ketones in her urine, which is a huge sign that she was type 1 diabetic.
Wow, and diabetes, of course, is a disease that attacks your pancreas,
Correct.
Right? Okay, so there are some of the symptoms that you had mentioned to me were something like thirsty, always needing to drink water, losing weight, having to go to the bathroom frequently, some of those signs. So if you get those signs, that, probably a really wise move is to get this stuff checked out,
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
You also mentioned something else I thought was interesting, that it used to be that type 1 diabetes, you would say 20 years old or younger. And now that's not even the case anymore, right?
Right. We're seeing just in the last several years even there are people, adults that wind up even at the age, I just heard someone tell me the other day at 50 that they were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So that area's become a little more gray. There's not really, that was always just a generalized, but it was usually anybody in that age group or younger. It was children, the juvenile diabetes. But nowadays we're seeing more people at an older age acquire type 1.
So obviously, a lot of research needs to be done, a lot, in an effort to try to find a cure for this. So hence the TourDeCure. Okay, 20th year in Saratoga, right?
Yeah, we're celebrating the tour in general across the country, our 24th year anniversary, but yeah, here locally, yes.
Oh, so Saratoga's been involved almost from the very beginning, which isn't surprising, right, Tom? Hey, tell us a bit about the day. It's Sunday, June 7th, Sunday.
Yeah.
Doesn't it start Saratoga High School?
Yes, it starts and finishes at the Saratoga High School.
Okay. And we like to, you think of it, when you think of the Tour de France, of course, you think of it as a race. This is not really a race, this is a ride. And I think that's an important distinction.
Right.
Give us that.
Very important distinction. We want everyone out there, this is a feel-good day. It's a day where you can bring your kids, your grandmother, anyone, your friends and families to go out and just say, you're celebrating your health, you've done a great job fundraising for diabetes. So it's a cycling fundraising event, but we always say that there is something for everybody there.
Right.
And even if you don't ride a bike, there's a tremendous amount of volunteer work that goes on behind the scenes. So we need about 350 people to volunteer that day. So if you have no interest in riding, you can still be a part of our event. So it's a day that you're celebrating, that you're there at the event, and that you are helping to make a difference in someone's life.
And didn't you tell me also that some of the riders who suffer from diabetes they participate in the race.
Yes,
for
those
health reasons, but also to show support, and we can spot them, can't we?
We can. Those riders we call our Red Riders, and what they receive from us is a Red Rider jersey that on the back says, "I ride with diabetes," and it is a very special day for them to be there. We celebrate that they are out there riding, that they're making a difference in their life, they're taking control of their health, that they're able to ride with either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. We have them start at the beginning of every one of our starting lines, and we have a great chant that, and now Tom learned it last year, is "Go Red Rider, go." So all along the way while they're riding, they get encouragement from all the other 2,000 or 1,500 riders. So it's really an amazing, inspiring day as well for our Red Riders.
Well, you said it was a fun day, so this is time for you. Will you keep it down, Tom? I mean, this whole interview.
I'm sorry, Jess. I didn't mean to dominate it.
Hey, Ruin Realty, obviously one of the major companies in our community. You got involved in this. This is the second year, right?
Yes, it is. Denise came to our office and encouraged us to be a sponsor, but at one of our marketing meetings we talked about it and we decided to have a team. So last year we had more than 20 riders and we had a lot of fun. And then this year we'll double that and try to raise enough money to have a tent at a certain fundraising level. You get a team tent.
Right, sure.
So everybody's very excited about it. They do fun things. We did Joanna Rockwood in our office coordinated a pub crawl on last Saturday. She had over 140 participants that came and did that and worked their way around in here. They were in your neighborhood. They were at Bailey's and Putnam Den and Harvey's and the West Side Stadium, Gaffney's. So it's been a lot of fun, and the office participates. And I think I said to you earlier, the most interesting thing to me is now that we've become involved, how many people have diabetes that I never knew.
That's right.
My daughter, I told you earlier, she was pregnant with my first grandson, who's named after me, John Thomas, so he's obviously perfect in every way, but his mother had gestational diabetes when she was carrying him, and that caused special things to be needed to be done, and Mary's very disciplined, so that was fine. But sadly, it wasn't just when she was pregnant. Well, after Jack was born, she still had it. So now she's type 1 and dealing with it, and it's been fun. It's been not fun. It's been interesting to see the technology change over the last couple of years with the pens for the insulin, with the pumps, the way they test. It's not, when we were younger, you'd see guys putting needles into their thighs and all this stuff, trying to maintain the highs and lows. And I think that's one of the good things about diabetes and the money that is raised through Denise's efforts is they're so close to being able to manage it better and better every year, to the point where they're looking at apps that will be on either your Apple phone or your Android phone. A lot of really good stuff.
Well, you know what? When you have a disease that's this insidious, it's attacking, you don't know how it's attacking and who it's going to attack, that research in finding ways to make people, I think the operative word there, Tom, is exactly what you said. It's how do you manage the disease? You know, I almost hesitate to say it. We lost one of the members of the Look TV staff, diabetes.
Really?
Just a couple of months ago.
Wow.
And you would know when it was affecting him because all of a sudden he was running to look for a Coke or running to look for a candy bar or something. You know, it gets that basic sometimes. And now, just back to the race one more time. We've got 2,100, over 2,100 people ready to participate. And at Tom's organization shows you register, it was like $25, but everyone who registered as part of your team needs to go out and raise $200.
That's right. That's right.
So, you know, we're talking about the kind of money that really needs to be raised to be able to try to tackle this thing, right? Pull this thing down a notch or two. I just want to also cycle back, pun intended, on something. There's a 100-mile race that starts right away. Those are for the people that we see that we basically hate because they're in the kind of shape that we wish we were in. But that's a 100-mile race, by the way. And it works its way down a 60-mile race, 50-mile, 28, and a 10-mile race. So if you got a kid that's just learned to ride a bike or something like that, this wonderful opportunity for the family to come in. The event is at Saratoga High School. There'll be all kinds of vendor tents and food. Oh, you mentioned that Mazzone's coming in, right, to do the phone. Always very generous. Angelo is always very generous in these kinds of things. And the date again is Sunday, June 7th. It starts off 6 a.m. for those people, those 100-milers. And of course, throughout the whole day, there's all kinds of things going on. And the money is going to a very, very worthy cause. Well, Denise, thank you so much for coming in. Tom, great to see you as always.
Jesse.
Thanks for having us.
You know your mission, Sunday, June 7th. Thanks. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.